One of my favorite takeout dishes, moo shu pork. It's a simple home-style stir-fry that your whole family will love. Hey everyone, I'm Flo, Duties Behind the Camera, and we're all about simple food, simple faith. When we were living in San Francisco, one of our favorite restaurants is Sandong on Irving Street, and they make such delicious Northern Chinese food. And one of my favorite dishes to order was moo shu pork. Let's talk about black fungus. It's also known as black wood ear or cloud ear. And basically it is a mushroom that looks like an ear. It has been dried, and when hydrated, it expands a lot. Now, I've never purchased this brand before, and when I did, I saw they were just little. And so I thought, oh, I'll just increase the amount because, well, I wasn't expecting it to go from this to this. All right, so my original recipe that can be found in Daily Special uses a tablespoon of black wood ear because the ones that I was using in that recipe were already cut into little strips, and so it was just like a little handful and it would expand into longer strips. But this one, I don't even know how to measure it. I thought maybe half an ounce, but half an ounce gave me all of this. So maybe you just need about 6 of them. I'm going to cut them down into little strips. I can't believe how much they grew. Crazy. Anyways, I rehydrated them by soaking them in hot water for about 20 to 30 minutes. And I like using wood ear because it gives a nice crunchy texture to your stir fry, especially to moo shu pork. Also using 1 onion that I'm going to slice. And I like to, well, need to cut off the butt first. I like to slice them from top to bottom because I find that the onion holds its shape better. I have a giant clove of garlic here. You can use as little or as much as you like. This never cooperates when you're filming me. I'm just going to chop it up. All right, it's good. I'm also going to chop up 2 stalks of green onion. I will cook the white part with this onion, and then the rest we'll use at the end. I'm using a Taiwanese cabbage today. They are flat. This was the smallest one I could find. Usually they come and they're ginormous, and we can't eat that much cabbage. So for this recipe, I'm only using half of this. First, I'm going to take out this part of the cabbage. And then just shred the rest. You don't have to use a Taiwanese cabbage. You can just use a regular green or even a red cabbage, whatever you can find. Moving on to the sauce, I'm using 2 tablespoons of water, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of hoisin sauce. And hoisin is different from oyster sauce, even though it kind of looks the same. Hoisin is a little bit sweet and savory, just different flavor profile. And 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And just give that a stir. And that's it for our sauce. I'm also using 3 eggs. Right, I'm just gonna lightly beat them. That's it. We're using my wok today, just turning it on to medium-high. Once you see that wisp of smoke, I'm adding about a tablespoon of a neutral tasting oil. I'm using avocado oil today. You can use peanut oil, canola, vegetable, whatever you have would be great. Just don't use olive oil because of the temperature. We want a high heat oil where we can cook our eggs quickly. And olive oil also just leaves a different flavor to your food. Not that it's not usable, just it will alter the taste of the dish that you're cooking. And if you don't have a wok, you can always use a large frying pan. I'm just going to scramble the eggs today. In the recipe, in the cookbook, it does say to make little egg crepes that you slice up into strips, but sometimes I just want to get dinner on the table and I can't be bothered with all the added steps. But this will still be tasty and delicious. Moving my egg back into the bowl that I just had. And turning my wok back on to a medium. Adding another tablespoon of cooking oil. And we're going to add our onion. I like to add the white and light green parts of the green onion because I like that part cooked a little bit more. So I just cook it with the regular onion. Okay, after about a minute or two, adding the garlic. And we're only cooking that for about 30 seconds, just until you start to smell the garlic. And we're going to push the garlic and the onion to the side and add the ground pork. And I'm using ground pork today because I find, meat is so expensive. Ground pork is pretty reasonable still. And this just makes for a quicker meal. And you don't have to marinate the pork because the pork is chopped up so fine that it will absorb all the flavors from the sauce. And so I'm just going to let this sear for about a minute on one side before I start moving it around. And that just adds a little bit of extra flavor. You can start moving your onion back into the cooking part of the wok. We just want the meat to be cooked through. And just in case I didn't actually say it, I'm only using ½ pound of ground pork. Okay, now I'm going to add my cabbage. And the Whittier. And we're going to cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes, just until the cabbage is wilted. This is why I like using the wok, because it just makes stir frying so much easier than using a large frying pan. You just have to be more careful when using a frying pan because you won't have all this surface area to move the ingredients around. Okay, don't forget to add your sauce. Oh, it smells amazing. You want that sauce to evaporate a little bit, so just cook it for another minute or so. Okay, adding the eggs back in. Break them up a little bit. All right. Turning off the heat, we're going to drizzle about ½ teaspoon to a teaspoon of sesame oil. And we like to add the sesame oil at the end so that the flavor doesn't burn off. And a couple pinches of ground white pepper. Don't forget the green onions that we chopped earlier. Give that another stir. And that's it. We're going to eat these on flour tortillas. Traditionally, they do eat this with flour crepes that they make from scratch, which I'm not doing. And I'll just show you the flour tortillas that I am using. All right, let's get this into a serving bowl. I'm going to try to leave the liquid in the wok. We want it to be dry because we're going to eat it with tortillas. You don't have to eat it with tortillas. You can eat it with rice. Oh, I think it's going to fit in this bowl, but barely. So the cabbage does cook down quite a bit, eh? I wanted to talk a little bit about the flour tortillas that we are using. We're actually using this soft roti. It's a local brand, and I find that the texture of these tortillas are more like the Chinese tortillas. They're a little bit chewy. They're not like the processed ones that you can normally find in supermarkets, but whatever you can find will do. And if you don't want to eat them with tortillas, you can always eat them with rice. I've already heated this up on a pan, and we're just going to add some of this filling. Get some wood air in there. You can add a little bit more hoisin sauce. It's also used as a condiment. Sprinkle this with a little bit more green onion, just because I had some left over. And that's it. Roll it up. Or maybe fold the bottom so that it doesn't ooze out the sauce. And that's it. And we'll let Dude tell you exactly what it tastes like. Are you all ready for?
The taste. That's a lot of food, feeds a lot of people, and it's fun to eat because roll it up in your favorite flatbread, whether it be a flour tortilla, a large tortilla, you can make a burrito on rice with your favorite carb. So in this case, this soft roti, which is pretty close to the OG Chinese crepe in the restaurants. And guys, this is gonna be fantastic. Let's get into this. You hear that crunching, guys? Great mouthfeel. Cabbage, an onion, and pork tastes great. And the flavors and the contrast of the textures, fantastic mouthfeel. It's fun to eat. Good.
Awesome, thanks, Dude. It's delicious, guys. You guys have to try it. For the original recipe, you can find it in a daily special. It even has a recipe for handmade tortillas. Otherwise, you can find this simplified version of the recipe on my website, FLO'S.com.